Welcome back to the channel, Adventures Through Climate Change with your host, Trevor. If you haven't been on the channel, this is not a good introduction. Check out another video. But we take an armchair approach to climate change, meaning we sit here, we read articles, we watch a lot more videos than reading articles because I'm just not as entertaining. I don't have the voice for it, the inflections, but I feel like I can watch a video pretty darn easy. So today, we've been doing this for like 3-4 months now. So if you want to see everything that we've figured out, you got to check out all the other videos. We're going both sides. We're checking climate change extremists to, deniers. So today is context climate change. Oh, CO2 is good. Energy Live News. Okay, so I gave him a like. I subscribed. This is about Dr. Patrick Moore. I like how they left out the doctor part. Greenpeace co-founder. If you guys don't know about him, I like what he has to say. He's a big nuclear guy. I think we still have issues with nuclear, and but I think we're gonna have issues with whatever. But from what I've seen of him, he thinks that CO2 is good, and I tend to agree with him on this one. I feel like we're on the lower end of the spectrum, which would eventually cause a climate change or cause a ice age, correct? Because if you don't have enough CO2 for the plants, they die off and you end up with a very arid landscape and whatnot. So from my understanding, right? So it would cause an ice age? I don't know. This is just a short clip, 3 minutes and 36 seconds. I couldn't find really anything short with him. We might watch this one sometime. But this is a good introduction, so I want to know what you guys think. Let's do it. Let's see what's happening.
Why are you here?
Well, one of my missions is to turn on its head the idea that carbon dioxide is a pollutant and somehow dangerous, when in fact it is the most important nutrient for all life on Earth, and without it this would be a dead planet. So I say not only is carbon dioxide good, it is essential. And it's a good thing that we are putting some more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere because it was running low before we came along.
CO2, we know its benefits for plants, but it is a known greenhouse gas, and we're pumping too much of it in, leading to global warming.
Well, actually, it may be a known greenhouse gas, but it's not known how strong it is in terms of changing the Earth's temperature. And so far in this century, there has been zero warming from a statistically significant basis, and the UK Met Office says so, yet 1/3 of all human CO2 emissions have been put into the atmosphere in the last 18 years. So it doesn't look like a lockstep causal relationship between increasing CO2 and warming of the Earth.
Are you seriously suggesting we should be pumping more stuff in, polluting the Earth more, building more coal-fired power stations, just so we can make sure that the CO2 levels are good?
No, I'm not, because we're putting plenty of CO2 into the atmosphere. We don't need to do it this quickly, but if we bring it up to a higher level than it is today, we will get immediately an increase in the growth of crops and trees, which is not a bad thing. In the long run, though, it doesn't matter if we bring it down quite a bit, and so that's why I'm supportive of nuclear energy and of natural gas. This tendency to go in the rich countries to wind and solar is a giant waste of money. Those wind farms will rust in place, and there is no fun to decommission them when they either wear out or we decide how ridiculous it is to spend so much money for so little electricity that isn't even reliable.
What are you saying about energy policy now to the ideas of decarbonisation? Is everyone wrong?
Yes, they're wrong if they are actually basing their energy policy on decarbonization. They're not wrong to base their energy policy on cost effectiveness, on pollution control, which is why moving from coal to gas makes sense if you have it. But India has coal, and India has 300 million people with no electricity. What do we expect them to do? Of course they're going to build coal plants, but India is also building a lot more nuclear plants than the UK is right now, and it doesn't have the emissions of a coal plant. And China is building huge hydroelectric dams, which don't have the emissions of coal plants. So many of these countries are doing their bit without wasting all this money on wind and solar energy, which is unreliable and prohibitively expensive in the long run.
Why is this consensus out there?
Look, if we had definitive proof that CO2 was causing serious problems and we could prove it, Don't you think they would write that down on a piece of paper somewhere so people could read it? They don't have definitive proof, period, in science. I'm a student of the philosophy and history of science, and I know that the scientific method has not been applied in such a way as to prove that carbon dioxide is causing the Earth to warm.
Do you think in a few years, say 50 years from now, people go, that was a really stupid period in our history when we tried to change all our energy policies to cut this gas?
I am firmly of the belief that the future will show that this whole hysteria over climate change was a complete fabrication.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen that clip before. I've seen quite a few others, and I've pretty much mostly agreed with him. You know, the fact is you can't argue CO2 too much because, like he said, you don't know. So, okay, it's a greenhouse gas, but it's a greenhouse gas, but you don't know how much cause it has on temperature, right? Or other things for that nature. And I think we tend to jump to conclusions about a lot of things. You know, we think we know best. We think we have figured it out. And I think that's a major issue. I think arrogance is always a major issue. And it's funny because when I was like, I have my bachelor's degrees in biology and health science. So I'm a realtor by trade now, but I still always fancy myself as a amateur biologist or amateur scientist to some degree. I appreciate that type of stuff. And, you know, I'm religious too. So I think most people think they go apart. I think they actually go hand in hand. It's pretty miraculous how everything works. So, anywho, I digress on that. To get back to the topic of CO2, I don't think it's a huge issue. In fact, I do think that it's it's very beneficial for plants, and if any animal life wants to go on, you have to make sure the plants are taken care of. I mean, we figured that part out, right? So there's always a symbiotic relationship there, and so I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. As always, this actually was, I think it was from Tom or Thomas, who sent me an email to check this guy out. I totally had forgotten about him, so I put him up in the search engine there and searched him out. And this is a small clip I decided to go with for today. So I appreciate it. Maybe I earned your subscription. Maybe I didn't. I deserve a like. Maybe I don't. And but I do. This part. I do appreciate the comments, and I hope to catch you in the next video.